I gotta go. We're on board now. Hang on. Just, yeah, no, I'll come back to you. Okay, see ya. Bye bye. Oh, Japers, g'day everybody. So hopefully you're getting this now. Looks about right. Everything's happening at once. I've just come out of a meeting at the club. I had to rush back, and just as I was doing that, Tapio calls on the phone, and I got him on the phone and said, "Oh wait, you've got to call me back at 15." So I went and did that one. Came back here. We got French media calling, and then we got a press release going out, and that was just Ada on the phone about the translations, and so anyway, we're here, and it's really frustrating for both Triana and Evrika. But in amongst all this, you're probably going to get the phone call on hotline from Tapio, because I said ring me back at 15, forgetting completely about the 1 o'clock tracker, so I can calm down now. We're here. I managed to get it up in time, and I'll show you exactly what's going on. But it was fantastic to see White Shadow and Triana turn up late yesterday. We had a bit of a problem with the live. We couldn't get a connection on two of them, so we had a delayed live and a bit of a mix-up. So hopefully you got to see all that anyway. Triana, very gracious in arrival. It was fantastic that Heather and the girls from Maiden were there to greet them. It was really cool. And they're happy to be here for sure. It was a great race, a great OGR for them, but a very frustrating last leg. And I don't think I need to go through the story. You all saw what happened. And they missed it by a day, but that's yacht racing, and they put up a great fight. So they had a huge number of family here, and, it was a real buzz. And then, of course, White Shadow turns up, and they're just a bunch of crazy Mexicans, So fiesta time that never stops. It was so good to see them. Very excited, jumping up and down, and the emotions then again on the dock with all their families and just their mix of Spanish and French and all the other nationalities was just crazy, completely crazy. So a lot of fun. And now they're all recovering from their bits and pieces. So all kind of exciting for them. Anyway, more about that later. I had an interesting conversation with Jean-Christophe, an interview there, and with Jean from Triana. But so if you're watching the live, just have a look at that. Very interesting, their thoughts and their comments and their emotions of getting in. The interesting one for Jean-Christophe was he was talking about his perception of the race, and it was very much in line with I didn't say anything. I let him talk, and it was like he nailed it completely as to what the OGR was about and how it was so relevant to him, having this dream of racing around the world, but there was no venue to do that as an amateur. And all of a sudden the OGR pops up and he just jumped in. So I'm going to have an interview with him this afternoon and just talk to him about how he did the OGR, not what happened on the water, just how did he get there from the dream to the start line. And I know a bit about the story, and it's atypical of someone that's got a dream and wants to do it. And he did it really well. It did. I mean, yes, it costs money. Everything in life costs money, but it didn't cost a huge amount of money. And for value for money, their entry was one of the classics, where all of the people involved put a little bit of money in to make it happen and pay all the costs. Their costs of going around the world wasn't exorbitant. Not too much broke and things that, the crew didn't break anything, stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting story. I'm just going to film it as a record, and then we'll put it up on Facebook and we'll put it up on the website later, because I think theirs is one of the typical ones. Oh, you want to listen to Tapio? I'll tell him you're online. This is Tapio's call. I'm not going to stop it, so stand by. Tapio, how are you doing? Tapio, hello.
What should I say?
Well, just before you say anything, we're actually live on Facebook as well at the moment. You've called in on the middle of the tracker update every day, so I've decided to let it run. Sorry I couldn't answer your call before. There was too much happening.
No problem.
Yeah.
We are not very busy.
Yeah, I can see that. So how long were you anchored for when you stopped with the current?
2.5 hours, and now we're just getting prepared to anchor we're still. I think we have moved backwards, and we're still south of Bill. And there's some wind visible 200 meters from us, but if we don't get into, we're taking that bearing ashore, and it seems that we're going in the wrong direction. So we'll put the hook towards one again.
Yeah.
We have calculated with the right tables that if we anchor twice a day, when the tide is against us, we will make 20 miles closer to coast with the favorable tide. So it will only take us into coast without wind and just with the help of spring.
Yeah, that'd be right. We can see the current. It's running at over about 3.5 knots at times. We can see the current. We can. The current is showing huge. Like 3.5 knots.
For some reason, the line is getting very bad. We hear parts of the word.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not so good. Anyway, I could ask you, how's the mood on board with the crew? They must be just frustrated as you.
Well, it's surprising in how good mood everyone is. We're joking, and you can't take a thing like this very seriously. And Theo was kind enough to make some fresh bread for us for lunch, so that built half an hour ago, and then we're actually south of the racing area of 2012 Olympics, where both my kids were racing 12 years ago, and we're also very excited to moving the last chance regatta in France, where Dia's daughter Ronja is having in the Fortunator FX, and Anton's brother Jakob is having an IQ tour, and still have 2 or 3 qualifications, but they just might make it to the Olympics in August. So I think we are more excited of their results than our own, which doesn't mean that we wouldn't be working our butt off to do everything
Yeah. Okay. For those watching this Facebook, I'm talking to Tapio and Galliano. If you just turned up, I hope you can hear this. Anyway, so that's cool. So we're hoping to see you sometime, hopefully before dark. But I'm beginning to wonder now.
Yeah, well, I feel sorry for my brother Eero, because 2 days ago I was asking him to make our accommodation reservation one day earlier. We have the reservations for tonight, and I wanted to have them for yesterday because it looked like we would make it by yesterday evening, and he insisted not to change them, which just shows his professionalism. But I'm afraid that I will need to send him a message and ask him to postpone them with 1 or 2 days, as we are enjoying the full moon south of Portland Bill.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Maybe next night we will be south of Anvil Point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully you'll get in just before dark and in the beautiful light, and there'll be great photos. But something worries me that it could be in the dark. But anyway, part of the course.
Yeah. So, hey, are you in contact with the people at RYS
No, not at the moment. Yeah.
Because I thought that we could, crossing the line, we could salute the flag of RYS. And at least in Finland, the procedure is so that the yacht that is making the salute to the club flag, we lower our flag first, and then the club flag ashore is quickly lowered and hoisted up again, and then we hoist our flag again.
Official salute.
So if we happen to be there daytime, it would be something nice for Ville to do it with this drone.
Yep, no problem. If that's happening, I'll talk to them and see what we can do. You can salute them with your cannon after all that, maybe.
We'll do it anyway.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be cool. Well, it's good to be talking about the finish, but yeah, it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for everyone, let alone you on the boat. Anyway, nearly there, nearly home. So how are you feel? How are you feeling now, Tapio? What's going through your head, having been so close to the finish, but you've nearly done it?
Yeah, well, I'm super happy that we are so far and everything has gone so well, and the crew, the team is in good shape and the boat is in good shape. And I think we have pretty much achieved everything that we were aiming in the whole junior project, which has for us been going on for 4 years.
Yeah. You still there? Oh, I lost you. Okay. So hang on. I'm going to Jane. You take the phone because you'll call back and then just do a finish report, and I'll carry on here. You just dropped. You take that, and so when he calls, just say, "Hey, go for finish report," and we'll go from there. Hopefully you heard some of that, and it wasn't just silence with looking at my bald head like this all the time. But anyway, I said, Tapio, call me back in 15, and I didn't realise that the tracker was on now. So sorry about that. Okay, let's just go straight to the tracker, and we'll show you where they are sitting right now and what the prospect is, which isn't favourable at all. And I didn't want to say too much, but I'm pretty confident that they might be sitting there for a while yet. So here they are. Before you can see, it's looking like Galeana's got a little bit of breeze behind them, but they're only doing 1.5 knots. And when the current turns, I mean, it's 3.5 knots through here. That's why they're anchoring. They're anchoring in something like 50 metres of water, or it was previously. It might even be deeper than that there, but they've got using sheet rope. It doesn't have to be strong, but it's got to be long. And so they're anchoring very deep water, and I think Evrika is probably doing the same. They're doing 1.7 knots at all there. So before we go into the details of that, we'll come back here and talk about Sterner and also Explorer, and also Translated 9. So we'll go drop back one more size. So you can see Sterner doing okay, coming in, doing about 6.6, and I'll come back to them in a minute. There goes Tapio, so we'll let them do that in the corner. Okay, so Explorer is now tacked and heading up just west of north, doing 4.5 knots in 43 nautical mile a day. They've had a bit slow, not a lot of progress before on the previous leg. Hang on, I'm going to make that a little bit darker. You can see that they were heading away from the mark again. At least they've moved up now, and they're heading in a much better direction, but tacking very wide angles. If you look at that, that's probably, there's 90 degrees there, 90 plus another 45, so they're tacking through about 130 degrees at the moment, which is not America's Cup stuff, but they're getting there. And 4.5, 43 mile day, still 1,700 nautical miles from the finish. I'm still saying 8th to 9th of May. Mark's thinking 7th of May, but we'll wait and see. So not a lot's going to change here with the wind direction, because you can see it's a massive high that's sitting there, part of the Azores high system, okay, and it's coming across. So it might swing. While we're here, we'll just push it through for the 25th, a day, a bit over a day. getting lighter. They're driving up into the centre of it, so hopefully they'll tack across then before too far, because you're going into Senator High. But let's wait and see how that evolves. It's certainly not going to be fast sailing in the next 24 hours, and the second 24 hours is about here, and it's more headwinds. So they'll come up here, and hopefully they'll tack, and they might make it back towards the Azores and then carry on, but a long way from home still. So, all right, the deal with Translated 9. I received an email yesterday from Marco, and he's suggesting that they might set sail tomorrow. So they'll be underway by tomorrow, and their ETA, they're suggesting about the 4th of May. They may review that based on the current weather. No, it's all looking okay. So, yeah, so they'll take off in normal stuff, and then they'll get that big push of headwinds that they'll have to tack into, maybe 26. Yeah, it's not so much headwinds. Yeah, they'll do okay. Anyway, so that's their plan, to try and take off tomorrow and then start heading towards the finish line. So that's okay. Now we'll just quickly look at Sterna's situation. They've got a reasonable breeze, 6.6, 131 nautical mile a day, and they've got 377 to go. And I think they're still looking like Saturday morning sometime, because it's not going to be fast in the next 24 hours. Here we go. There's the next 24 hours. And northwesterly, they'll pick up, but they've still got a slow day. They'll probably do 150 mile a day. So there goes today's Thursday, and then they've got Wednesday. So that's Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday, if we go through to the next 24 hours after that, it's going to go quiet. This is where they slow down again. So that by then they're up here, and it's going quiet because this system's moving way down south rather than come across to the southeast. So there'll be a second day. Friday will be quiet for them. And I know it'll work out fine. They've got 3 big ribs full of supporters coming in, apparently. Supporters, the youth crew member on board, the family member, the father, has been a long-standing member of the Royal Yacht Squadron. So there is 3 boatloads of people coming out to watch them cross the line, and it looks like it'll be sometime on Saturday morning. So that'll be perfect. So we'll keep updating you closely on that. But they've got an average day today and a slow day on Friday, but they should be getting close enough to, if they get the tides right, to turn up sometime on Saturday morning. All right, so that's that one. Now, if we pick it up a bit more and start looking at the amazing story of Evrika and Galliana. As you know, Evrika was quite some distance behind, but she's now pretty much level pegging with Triana, with Secure, to caught up. Not Triana, Galliana with Secure, rather. She was doing amazing things this morning. No, late last night, doing 9 knots, and Galliana was doing 7 knots or something. We're thinking, what's going on? Because there was no wind forecast here at all. But sure enough, like an hour later, they'd stopped, and they've been struggling ever since. And you can see now, Galliana's facing the other way because the current's going this way, I think it is. And we will look at that on windy in a sec. But they're 31 miles from the finish. That could be done in about 3 hours, if they were lucky, 3 and a bit hours. And Evrika doing 1.1 knots, 84 mile a day, 40 miles from the finish. So 31 and 40, 9 miles behind, and so close but so far. So you know where they're going. So I'm going to swap over to, if I come back here, I'm going to swap over to windy and just show you what to expect. Hit that. You should be looking at windy. Yes, that's looking at windy. So I'm looking at windy now. They're currently around. Oops, keep us stand by. They're currently there and there. Swan Gate. Yep. Okay. So Galliana right now is sitting around about here, and it's showing 7 knots of breeze. But forget the wind for the moment. We'll have a look at the currents. That will be overriding everything. And Evrika's over here showing about 4 knots. Okay, and if we come back to Galliana about there, moving forward on the wind, we'll see this is 4 o'clock this afternoon. It looks as if there's more breeze coming here, but as soon as they start going, they're going to end up over here, and there's no wind. And generally, it's hard to be too correct with these graphics because there's so little wind. You've got this sort of Nothing back here. They're suggesting there might be a bit of a ridge of a bit of a section of breeze here, but then nothing around there. So local weather overrides it. So even though it's showing breeze over here a little bit, there might be nothing, completely glass out, because it's so, the level of breeze you're talking about is nothing, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So that's 4 o'clock this afternoon, and he might be sitting about there. Then we go to 8 o'clock, which is just about getting on to dark now at the end of the day. And I'll focus on Galiana first. So if we come up here, you can see this is just on dusk. It's very common for the breeze to dry out. You've got land heated up and things like that. There's nothing all the way through here. 2 knots, 3 knots, 4 knots, just nothing. So even if he gets a bit further on, this is 8 o'clock tonight. Hopefully there's something pushing through, but it's not looking encouraging. It's even worse when we go to midnight tonight. You got 5 knots coming the other way, 6 knots, maybe. That could be enough to keep sailing. So they might be somewhere during the evening. And if we look back here, Vrica caught a little bit behind. Just all this stuff that makes it impossible to pick the actual prospect of trying to sail in. Now, if we come over here and go through to some currents, I'll show you what's going on. There's some big stuff at the moment. So going here, currents, tidal currents. We'll go for currents first. Boom. Okay. So at the moment, this is what Galiana's probably getting, and very quickly you can see this is at 5 o'clock. You've got 2.2 knot current going the wrong way. It starts to die out as you get up into the Solent there, but there's huge currents there, and it gets worse as time goes by. But it changes. So so that's at 6 o'clock tonight. It turns in their favour. If Galiana can get up here, Galiana will secure, can get up here, at least they'll have the current going with them for a while. We go through to midnight. If Vrica is stuck back here, they're going to get a push again. But anyway, it's pushing them in the right direction. So that's pretty much as I can call it. Anyway, I think you can see there's challenges ahead, and it's impossible, literally impossible to come up with an ETA. I'm not worried about rankings and stuff. I'll come back here now. I think we've probably done enough. So yeah, rankings are as they are. Everyone knows that they've been hammered. They're not high in the rankings. They're slowing down even more, and we'll check that once they get across the line. So all a sad story. And in fact, I've just had more waffle on here, but it was interesting. I had a really big conversation with Jean from Triana today, looking at their situation. And one example of their situation is you have something where you have a team on a boat that's been struggling really hard. They do really well on the first leg. They do really well on the second leg. They do extremely well on the third leg. And all of a sudden, one bad deal with the weather, and they're knocked out completely. And so I look at that as being, wow, that's a sad reflection of yacht racing and so on. And I think, how can we do that? And Sebastian on board the boat came up with a couple of suggestions to Jean, to Jean rather. I'm hopeless with names, by the way. Sorry. Anyway, the situation is, if we had a scoring system per leg, it might alleviate some of that. So if you win a leg, you get 1, and if you come last in the leg, you get 14. If there's 14 boats, and so on, and that helps to balance out if you get a bad deal. Similar to what we've done with the Chichester class. We're now going to have a Chichester class in 27, where if someone has a bad luck situation, like translated in the beginning, they have 1 failure and they've got to get outside assistance, and then they're out of the rankings for that leg, you're basically out of the whole race after years of preparation and planning. So now with the Chichester class, you get 1 deal of outside assistance, and you suffer the time wasted, from the race. And the organisers can put on another 48-hour time penalty if we think it's relevant. But you're still in the race with only 1 knockout. But you're in Chichester class. That just defines you as having had a stop. But you're still racing. You've still got a chance to win if your other legs have been really good. So a scoring system for the legs is a very good idea. And we'll have a look at that going forward. Anyway, I digress a bit. I'll just see who's here and if anything's anyone's got any questions or bits. Simon's there. G'day. Bet you're really happy to get out of the water with your rib. Absolutely, yeah. It's a great rib, by the way. And Kathleen, to really great arrival videos. Yeah, I must admit, I enjoyed Ada's photos, and you had to be. I mean, they were both great arrivals, but they were both completely different. So I'm just saying with the White Shadow guys, it was electric. They're just party animals. They're not animals. They're just so excited. Everyone jumping up and down and screaming and yelling. It's just nuts. And it was a lot of fun. And I liked Ada's photos. I mean, they're really cool. So I enjoyed those galleries. It was all good fun. And thanks. A lot of people are saying thanks to all of us, the team, and everything that happens with the social media and the videos and the photos and the commentaries and, the tweets and the press releases and all those things. Everyone's been enjoying the ride. And it's interesting to look back on the material, and it's historical now. You could go back to any day of the race and look at one of these live tracker updates to work out what happened that day or who the problem was. And that's a bit of fun for the entrants because they've been on the water and they haven't had a chance to go back and look at that. If they say, oh, I remember when we were becalmed in this thing or got hit by this front, they can pick the days out of their log, go back and look at the tracker and see the weather and things. So there's a lot of material there, a lot of videos they can go back and have a look at. Jean-Christophe really spoke amazingly well on the pontoon about his experiences. Absolutely right. It was fun to listen to him, and he, as I said in the beginning, he typified everything, and that's why I'm keen to talk to him about how he did it, not on the water, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's cool. Be good to see Tapio in safe. Yeah, absolutely. Their whole team is amazing, and they'll be taking it pretty well. You sort of give up when you're in that situation. When you get becalmed 40 miles from the finish for 24 hours or something, what can you do? But that's how it works. So it looks like Explorer's heading back to America again. Yep, Coley, I agree. 20th century call distance, 20 same quality as from the dark side of the moon. Yep, that's how it works sometimes. It's the iridium's great, but it has some limitations. Looks more like Explorer's heading to Greenland now. Yep, but at least it's better than the other tack. The signal has travelled nearly the distance away from Peter. Yeah, heard okay. All right, interesting. So you did hear Tapio. That's good. Came through just fine. He won't be until the morning. Oh, jeepers, you might be right, but I don't want to say that. We got to move out of here in the morning as well, out of this place and booking to another place. So that'll be challenging as well. Part of the fun. Okay, there's a message there. Looks like finish, but I can't understand that. Sorry, Juco. My money's on T9 getting in before Explorer. Yep, that's not hard because they're closer already to start with. So, Tapioca came through. Oh, Tapioca. I like that. But I think not until morning. Yeah, with the tide, we'll see. Definitely unfortunate conditions. The absolute opposite. The gale force winds. Yep, it's a sad story. And g'day, Mike. G'day, Tapio, Warren. You really know how to drive the rib and get the photos. Even my team on the boat, it's okay. That's part of the game, I learned a long time ago. In fact, the Survivor series on TV. Okay, I was involved with a friend of mine called Kim McKay in Australia. She was working for Discovery Channel. And the very first concept of the Survivor programs on TV started from like an endurance race, and all the key elements of Discovery Channel stuff happened up in Cairns. It's a long story, but basically that was the beginning. We got to know, we got to see these guys and so on. Anyway, to cut a long story short, there's a guy, a helicopter pilot called Terry, and sometimes we were there, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and his attitude, he was a photographer and filmmaker himself, but he was the helicopter pilot. And the difference was all the crews would, when you got into his helicopter to take the stuff, he knew exactly where to put the helicopter to get all the right shots, all the right videos, blah, blah, blah. Because he had a photographer's mind. Okay. Now I was actually trained as a photographer when 18. I was a photolithographic dot etching retoucher, and I shot 10,000 film photographs when we lived in Antarctica for a year, and so I've been involved with photography for a long time, and I understand what it means. And if you can be a good photographer, but if you haven't got the good subjects, you're cooked. You've got to get the shot. So, and most people when they're doing something with the ribs, they'll go and they'll follow the boat and they'll just sit there and you've got to try and get your shots. But if you're a photographer, you know what to do. And so I look at, that's why I do all those loops around the boat and get in really tight and so on. Then if Ada's doing the shots, it's perfect because I'm trying to get her in the right shots. And where Ada shines on the photos is when you're on the dock, it's got nothing to do with me. She'll just nail all this emotion stuff. And she's got a really good iPhone. It's her iPhone. She's spending a heap of money to get that. And but it's got a good zoom on it. Okay, so much better than my camera. I only take shots every now and then on this phone. But hers is the latest, and it's got a great zoom on it. And so she's getting some really cool stuff. And she's got a good eye for it. So it's a lot of fun. But I like driving because then I can get where we need to go. And Jane's good on the videos, The funny part we said yesterday, because that steep sea that we had when the tide had turned, by the time we got out to see White Shadow, and we had this short, steep sea. It was just going smash, 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 smash. And we're all talking about it, getting wet and clobbered. And Jane's there with the gimbal, and it's as steady as a rock. You don't even see it. As we said to James, hey, when that happens next time, we should try and get down and show you what's happening to the bow of the boat. Because the gimbal hides a lot of that stuff. And Jane knows where to put the camera when we're doing things. And it's always great vision. So that's kind of cool. And we've finally got a good set of mics that are working, which are actually Ada's. We're using DJI mics at the moment, and they suppress everything really well because sometimes there's so much noise, engine noise, wind noise, blah 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 blah, and these new mics are just great. You only hear what's happening, what's talking. So slowly but surely. Anyway, I also started as a photographer. I know I could on you, Simon. Yeah, back in the day, film, paper, and chemicals. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's another story. So all good. So I'm in late. Have a good day. Thanks for that. We'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully Tapio and Evrika will be in, and then we'll just be waiting for 3 people: Sterner, Translated 9, and Explorer. So it's all happening, or about to finish happening. So that's good. Anyway, see you later. Thank you.